Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the Rockwall ISD Sports Network. We're coming to you from Forrester Field in Dallas, Texas, a part of Dallas ISD. It is the 6A Area Championship between the Skyline Raiders and your Rockwall Yellow Jackets. Hope everybody's having a great day. This is Chris Curtis, and I'm joined by my partner in the booth, Mr. Reggie Webb. And, of course, on camera, Trevor Webb. No relation.
No relation.
I don't know how it happens, but we have so many Webbs in this district. We can't get rid of you guys. You guys are everywhere.
We're kind of like cockroaches.
You are. And it's a glorious thing to have, of course. But welcome inside. We are excited to be here once again this week for another big playoff game. Unfortunately, we're down to just one for Rockwall ISD. Of course, both Heath teams fell last week, so unfortunately, we are down to one, but it makes it better for us because we can put all of our attention here on the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. So, Reggie, a lot happening here in this game. These two teams have seen each other once this year already, I do believe, correct? Did I get that on the
Actually, no.
No, okay.
They've got a number of common opponents, but this is going to be their first head-to-head matchup of the season.
Perfect, okay. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to see here tonight between these two teams as the teams are getting introduced here on the field. We don't have a crowd mic tonight. We are kind of in a locked-in booth here, so you're stuck with us. But what are you seeing here from the Skyline Raiders, and what are the Rockwall Yellow Jackets going to have to do?
Well, you know, for those of you who tuned in last Friday night to hear our broadcast of the bi-district match between Rockwall and Saxe High School, a lot of the same thing, you know, as we talked about that for that matchup. Skyline is a high-powered offense. They score a lot of goals. Rockwall is a high-powered defense. They don't allow a lot of goals. They don't score a lot either. They play in a bunch of one-goal matches. And I expect to see a lot of the same tonight. You know, you look back over the stats for both teams. Rockwall comes in tonight 15-3-4. 3 losses, 4 draws on the season. Skyline comes in 14-2-6. So they've got more draws, but they've got less losses. Skyline has been very, very effective at home. They're 7-1 playing here at Forrester Stadium this year as their home field. Rockwall, when they're the away team, struggles a little bit more, 5-2-2. But here's the thing I want you to key on tonight. And for the Rockwall fans out there, I think this is going to be the biggest thing. Rockwall needs to keep as much of a clean sheet through the first half as possible. Last week against Saxe, 90 seconds into the match, they gave up an early goal to the Mustangs, and then they spent literally the remainder of the game, all but the last 2 minutes, chasing that one goal. That's something that Rockwall does fairly well. We've seen them do that time and time again throughout this season. It's a little bit different for Skyline. They come out, they average multiple goals in the first half throughout the season. They've only scored, and I don't have the stat right in front of me, they've only scored like 4 second-half goals throughout district play this year. Part of that is because they jump out to a big lead early, and then they just protect the ball, run the clock for the rest of the match. So I think it's key for Rockwall tonight to come out, if possible, throw a clean sheet up through the first half, but certainly minimize scoring opportunities for Skyline early on. And you put Skyline back on their heels. You put them in a difficult situation of, you know, what do you have to do in a match where you're not ahead by 2 or 3 goals going into the second half? I think Rockwall completely has the ability to pull that off tonight, but again, it's going to be incumbent upon them not to do what they did last week, put themselves in a hole early, and then have to scramble for the remainder of the match. Because we saw last Friday night, the momentum was on Saxe's side for not only the remainder of that first half, but early on in the second half, before Rockwall finally got the equalizer with about 2 minutes left in regulation. And then once they got that equalizer, momentum completely shifted, and Rockwall was on their front foot for the final couple of minutes of regulation, but through all of that first 10-minute overtime and through the vast majority of that second 10-minute overtime until Connor Shaughnessy scored the great header with about 90 seconds left in that second overtime. So in a nutshell, that's the key. Rockwall needs to keep Skyline stymied early on and live to fight the bigger fight in the second half.
It was an exciting game last week. Obviously, I was calling the Heath girls game, and had you guys tuned in on my phone as well, and checking in on everybody around the district. So a fun, exciting game between Rockwall and Saxe. Of course, as we see here, this is going to be round 2. The teams are just about done getting introduced. As you see the starting lineup there on your screen, of course, Tanner Bailey will be guarding the net here tonight for your Rockwall Yellow Jackets. The rest of the starters right there on your screen. Tony didn't want me to give me the positions today. I don't know what was going on with that. So we didn't have the positions on there. He was changing some things up, he said. He didn't want to give away anything. He's very cautious about what he gives me on game day. So kind of funny there. Speaking of Tony, of course, there he is with his beautiful family, of course, excited. We were going to have Dr. Kelsey Bowles up here at halftime, excited to have her up here. Of course, his sons, Truett and Kyler right there. Of course, Tony is entering his 16th season.
I'm so glad that Kelsey's a doctor now. I've got this thing in my back, and I'm hoping she can figure that out for me.
She might be able to pop it there at halftime. Get you a little chiropractic move right there.
Not that kind of doctor, huh?
Of course, national anthem is being played as we speak. We obviously do not have crowd mics here, so we do apologize for that. We're kind of locked into a booth here at Forrester Field. The booth probably was built in the late 70s, early 80s, so a little bit not as friendly as far as media goes. But nonetheless, we are here and excited to bring you the area championship on the Rockwall ISD Sports Network. So let us know where you're watching from. Of course, we will give you a shout out here on the air. Excited to have all you guys tuning in for this area championship. We're just about ready to rock and roll here from Forrester Field. Of course, the winner does move on in the next round. They will face the winner, and it'll be a tough one between the Woodlands or Cypress Woods. And the rumor on the rumor mill, Mr. Webb, is that we are going to be playing at the Tomato Bowl on Friday night.
Oh, my goodness.
So that is the hot rumor. That's not confirmed by any stretch of the imagination. Apparently, it's going to be windy on Friday, too. Of course, winds are going to be gusting from the mid-30s to early 40s, and it's going to be chilly on Friday. Of course, you got to have that last little cold spell, and of course, it's right during the soccer playoffs. But that's the rumor. Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville, Texas. So could be exciting times for.
And the Tomato Bowl, if you haven't been there, it's literally an iconic stadium in Texas. I mean, there have been books written about it. I haven't been there since probably the mid to late 80s, but I guarantee you it hasn't changed since the mid to late 80s, because I don't think it's changed since the mid to late 50s.
Well, they had a big-time renovation of it, apparently. So they got the new turf, they got a new press box. So apparently it got some nice renovations to it.
But it's the brick exterior, the stone exterior. I mean, it was a bowl stadium in small-town East Texas before anybody else had bowl stadiums.
And they still have the entire, all that for everybody to have for that iconic scene at the Tomato Bowl, but of course not confirmed yet. So don't book your tickets to Jacksonville, Jacksonville, Texas.
Don't book your tickets to Jacksonville,
Florida.
Don't go
to Florida either. Even
you'll
though
still have to listen on YouTube.
You can. The best part is you can watch us from Jacksonville, Florida, if you're there, of course. So, just about getting ready to get underway here. The coin toss, of course, teams will be choosing sides here, and we will be ready to rock and roll from Dallas, Texas, the home of the Skyline Raiders here at Forrester Field. So
as we're getting through the coin toss here, I'd mentioned earlier common opponents. Skyline has played Horn twice. They played a district contest. They played Roy City and they played Rockwall Heath. Obviously, those are common opponents. Rockwall played Horn back in tournament play early in January. Played Roy City twice, Rockwall Heath twice in district play. From those common opponents, Rockwall was 4-1. Their one loss being a 1-0 loss, which ultimately ended up costing them the district championship versus Roy City back in early March. Against those same four opponents of Horn, Roy City, Horn twice, Roy City, and Rockwall Heath, Skyline had 2 wins and 2 draws. Their 2 draws coming against Roy City and Rockwall Heath. So that kind of gives you an idea. If you've been following this Rockwall boys team throughout the season, Roy City was a quality opponent. Rockwall Heath was the district champion. So, high quality Skyline against that level of competition pulled 2 draws out. Rockwall, against that level of competition, had 3 wins, one against Roy City, twice against Rockwall Heath, and then one loss to Roy City. So that kind of gives you an idea of exactly how evenly matched I expect tonight to be.
Of course, the coin toss has been settled. The Rockwall Yellow Jackets will look like they will be attacking from our left to your right. Skyline going from your right to left. Of course, Rockwall is dressed in the all whites with a little bit of, I think that's black speckle perhaps on the jersey. Of course, that yellow or orange rockin' our soccer logo. Literally all white with a gray stripe on the shorts, and most of them have on those rockin' orange cleats. We were kind of talking about, well, when I say we were, I myself was talking about how soccer teams like to have tradition when it comes to playoffs. Obviously, you think of South Lake Carroll and bleaching the hair.
Yeah.
The Rockwall Heath girls last week all had the red ribbons in their hair with the red glitter and all that. Looks like Rockwall kind of staying basic here. Of course, they do have traditions that they like to do behind the scenes, not on the pitch here. So going to be exciting to see what they do here. Of course, Skyline is dressed in all black with the white numbers on the back, and not one player has turned towards me, so I can't tell you what is exactly on the front of their chest, but I'm assuming it probably will say Skyline or Raiders, one of the two. So we're just about to get underway here from Forrester Field. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. We'll give you a shout-out. Real quick shout-out to our cameraman, Trevor Webb. I don't know if he
relation.
Said brother-in-law, sister's brother. I think that's what he said. Noe Cavazos. If I butchered that name, I do apologize. But thanks for watching every Rockwall ISD soccer match so far this year. Glad to have you in to the booth here tonight as we are just about to get ready to go. It's the area championship from Dallas, Texas, and we are getting ready to roll.
Looks like Rockwall is going to start out in a 4-1-4-1 formation. Quicks sending the ball back in the middle of the field, connecting with Jack Gilliland, who sends the ball forward to Jacob Archer. First good opportunity from Rockwall. Ran out of real estate there from Jacob. Looks like it's going to result in a goal kick for Skyline. Great early pressure from Rockwall. They'll work the ball immediately down the field. Jacob got the ball inside the 18. Looked to get across inside the 6 with Gilliland trailing. Just couldn't quite get it pulled off for you. Ran out of real estate.
Of course, the captain's wearing that orange armband, so you'll be able to see who is the captain out there for your Rockwall Yellow Jackets. Majority seniors.
Well, 2 of the 3 are seniors. Yeah, Jack Gilliland's out there. Manny Perez is out there. But then junior Hudson Morgan holding up that back line as the center back, along with last week's hero Connor Shaughnessy. Maintaining the underclassman captain's armband.
Of course, Hudson Morgan, if you know that name, he is the one that scored the only goal against Heath twice this year. So he has his name etched in Rockwall royalty in the I-30 Classic.
So super freshman Andres Pena right there with the takeaway. Rockwall not able to maintain possession.
Talk about how important Andres is to this team. Obviously, coming in as a freshman, we talked about the Heath girls. You know, they had 9 freshmen on the team this season. What is his role on this team?
Andres is he's perpetual energy. You know, I mean, his importance to this program is going to be felt so much more over the next 3 years. But what he offers right now are just it's just he's the Energizer Bunny for them. He's constantly going. He's constantly looking to make things happen. You know, you rely on your upperclassmen, your more seasoned veterans to try to keep things calm and kind of keep the water smooth as much as possible. That's not Andres Pena's role. He's out there to create chaos whenever possible, and he does a tremendous job at that. You know, it reminds me a lot of a couple of years ago. Shot opportunity there from Skyline, just a little bit wide right. But it reminds me quite a bit from a couple of years ago when Hudson Morgan first migrated from Utley to the Rockwall program and immediately made an impact as a freshman. You know, literally more as a freshman as an attacker more than a defender. And, you know, he was that constant energy. And then as the years have gone on, now he's an 11th grader. He's moved back to anchor the center back position on the back line, and he does a tremendous job with that. Not saying Andres Pena is going to be a center back at some point in time in his career, but he's full of energy right now, looking for great save there from Tanner Bailey. Sorry. Skyline got the ball in deep, got across. Tanner Bailey was in perfect position. But I think Andres, this year his job is to be constant energy. And next year his job is going to be a little bit more leading. And he's a kid that I would certainly expect by his 11th grade year, he's going to be wearing that orange armband.
Absolutely.
And also have to mention, also an Utley Wolf.
There you go. Of course, Tanner Bailey, the goalkeeper for Rockwall, he's a sophomore. So some nice young talent here for Rockwall to build in the future for the next couple of years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And they've got, Coach Bowles has taken a great opportunity here on this playoff run. He's dressed out a number of his JV players that are freshmen and sophomores to get to experience this and maybe somewhere along the line get some minutes in on the field and get their first taste of high school soccer playoffs. It's the same in any sport. Another shot from Skyline, just a little bit over the crossbar. It's the same in any sport. You get those kids out here, you get the bus rides, you get the camaraderie, you get them spending time with some of these varsity leaders. Your seniors like Jack Gilliland, Isaiah Ivey, Manny Perez, Jacob Archer. It sets up a great foundation for the continued growth of your program.
A lot of great young soccer talent here at Rockwall ISD, and Rockwall is no exception to that.
So early on, other than that first run off the opening kickoff from Rockwall, it's kind of been a bend but don't break effort from the Yellow Jackets. Skyline has been on their front foot. They've been kind of taking the attack to Rockwall. Rockwall struggled a little bit maintaining possession, which again, as I've mentioned on previous broadcasts, it's not been their strong suit the last few years. Quick foul from behind there from Nolan Foster. It's not been their strong suit maintaining possession. They're great at winning possession. They try to send long balls. They try to run on it in the attacking third of the field. Sometimes they have success, sometimes they don't, but at the very least, you clear the ball down to the opposing team's defensive third. You at least are able to regain your breath, set your shape back up. But that's, like I said, it's bend but don't break. It's a little bit playing with fire. It bit Rockwall early last week. Hopefully they figure this out. They find a solution to maintain possession a little bit more, creates more attacking opportunities.
Yeah, and Skyline really has kind of applied the pressure so far in this game. Of course, we are only 7 minutes into this game.
Another opportunity.
Skyline didn't get a hold of all of that one, probably not as much as he wanted. We did not get a roster for Skyline, so we do apologize.
No, and I've got to tell you, I reached out to Daniel Barentine, the coach at Skyline, somebody that I've known for a number of years, that we've actually matched up head-to-head a few times during my coaching career. But probably completely my fault. I didn't reach out to him till this morning. I should have reached out to him yesterday. But we weren't able to get a Skyline roster, in order to be able to recognize some of these kids, because these kids are playing, for some of them, in their first area finals as well. And, we like to take these opportunities to recognize all the successes of both of these teams and celebrate them as much as possible. Rockwall with the ball down inside the 18. Jacob Archer bringing the ball. Couldn't get it across, but he does earn the corner kick out of that. Now, this is going to be really key for Rockwall tonight. They kind of specialize in dead ball restarts, whether it's corner kicks, whether it's free kicks. You're going to see Brandon Alvarado taking, especially from the right side, because he's left-footed, he's going to take the majority of these corner kicks from the right side. Everything's going to be an in-swinger from him. Great, well-taken ball. Oh, great opportunity there for Rockwall. Looks like Manny Perez got on the end of that, but just sent it just over the crossbar. But there was a late runner coming in from the far post on that well-placed corner from Brandon Alvarado. Just couldn't quite get ahead on it. Still a great opportunity. That's the kind of stuff Rockwall needs to do in the first half, not only to create scoring opportunities, but obviously the more you're doing that, the less opportunity you're giving Skyline, which is the key to the battle for Rockwall's strategy tonight.
Absolutely. We do apologize. We cannot see the far corner of the stadium due to where we are.
Or the near sideline.
Or the near sideline, and it's just because of the box that we're in. So it's Trevor Webb knows what he's doing over there. It's just that we are not able to get enough camera angle over there, so we do apologize. We figured you'd rather see the goal than the corner. We made a sacrifice. So going on in that future, in the future of this game, you will not see that corner on your screen.
Skyline once again maintains possession through the middle third of the field. Hudson Morgan coming over to clear it off. Does a nice job, maintains his possession. Sends the ball up to Brandon Alvarado. Should be Cohen Salazar there with the ball.
Got a what up, Reg, in the chat. RSRIII 2000.
Zero idea who that is.
Not big on your screen names, huh?
Not big on my screen. All right. Another little quick foul there from Edward Bertrand. You know, the Yellow Jackets count a lot on Jack Gilliland to hold down that striker position, you know, and he played a ton of minutes on Friday night. One thing to keep an eye on that I'd mentioned during the broadcast as we were coming to the end of that second overtime, worried about penalty kicks, is it felt like he was grabbing his ankle. I had the opportunity to talk to him after the match the other night, and again started cramping up. And this time of year, in this kind of weather, in this heat, you know, even without the humidity, you know, that's the kind of thing to keep an eye on, because cramps are the mortal enemy of a soccer player. And, you know, you want to keep an eye on these guys as they're coming through. They start to grab their lower extremities, just hoping that they're not overused early in the match. All right, a great opportunity here earned by Jacob Archer. Did a great job working through a mark from Skyline. Earns a free kick from just outside the 18-yard box. Looks like Brandon Alvarado initially is standing over the ball.
Of course, this is going to be a great opportunity here for Rockwall to take an early 1-0 lead if they can put it in the net.
You know, this is a great position because the wall's got to back up 10 yards, which gives you plenty of room to curl this ball over the top and still get it down below the crossbar. If you're any further in, it makes it really difficult on that trajectory. But there's a real opportunity here.
Of course, ref's telling the players to go where he wants them, play nicely. Oh, big save.
Great save from the Skyline keeper there. Well taken free kick from Brandon Alvarado. Ball over the cross line. Once again is going to earn another corner kick from Brandon Alvarado over here on the right flag.
Rob Randall saying hello to Reg.
A little bit deep. Great job, Hudson Morgan, trying to keep it in. Results in a goal kick for Skyline.
Of course, we have hit the 28 mark here of the first half. It remains 0-0. In the area championship, winner moves on to round 3 somewhere, more than likely, in East Texas.
You know, it's really been a good first 12 minutes for Rockwall. You know, considering the type of game plan that they come in with, they've done a good job. They've withstood everything that Skyline's had to throw at them so far. And again, as we said pregame, it still sits here at 0-0. And, you know, from looking at it from the perspective of both teams, that very much favors Rockwall. Skyline is a team that typically likes to jump out early and just hold on. Rockwall is a team that's a little more accustomed to coming from behind. Oh, great opportunity. A great ball in there from, I think, once again, that was Brandon Alvarado. And not sure who that was on the end of it.
It was Jacob Archer. Isn't it? Number 11?
Yeah, no,
Yep.
I think that's Jacob Archer. Yeah, you're exactly right.
And he gave a thumbs up saying that's perfect
yeah,
ball.
that was a perfectly placed ball.
Keep doing that, and we're going to get one. Of course, Reggie, you mentioned the big-time cramping happening, on Friday. Do you think the spring break play had anything to do with that, with taking a few days off? The normal rhythm of the week kind of got messed up a little bit?
100%. Because, well, yes, but we're talking about teenage boys. I don't know how well they're taking care of their bodies on the best of days, on school days.
And on off days, for sure there's some days.
I used to always laugh. My brother was the head football coach at Mesquite Horn. He had a great player who went on to a great career at Texas Tech and in the NFL named Jakeem Grant.
Yep.
And Jakeem was an amazing player for Rodney at Mesquite Horn. But the problem in big games is Jakeem would cramp up at halftime on these hugely pivotal games all the time. And Rodney would ask him why. He would ask him, what'd you eat for lunch? And he said, chili pie and Dr. Pepper. So, yeah, if you're eating chili pie and Dr. Pepper and then going out and having to play DeSoto that night, you're probably going to cramp up. So
you're going to have a bad day.
Yeah. So, I mean, to your point, yes, from a spring break standpoint, there's probably a much greater likelihood these kids weren't staying hydrated, they weren't eating right. So that definitely probably contributes. Skyline with the free kick from just outside the 5-yard line, at least from the football markings, but went quite a bit wide there. So that will set up Tanner Bailey with a goal kick. And again, if this is your first time watching Rockwall this season, one thing you need to expect is about midway through this first half, you're going to see Coach Bowles sub out Tanner Bailey and put in Gordon Holland, which are his two keepers. It's not a first team and a second team keeper. It's a 1 and a 1A. And he does that quite a bit. As a former coach, it kind of drives me insane because I always would want to go with the hot hand, even if I had two quality keepers. But Coach Bowles has been committed to this rotation, and you can't argue with it. I mean, you're in the area around the playoffs. You're competing. You're doing a great job. So it's obviously worked.
If it's not broken, no need to change anything. Just let it roll.
Skyline with a throw-in inside the 18. Good job clearing it out from Hudson Morgan. Once again, another Skyline throw. Good job from Nolan Foster dispossessing there. Quick throwing coming back in here from Brandon Alvarado. Great job from Alvarado. Couldn't get a foot on the ball, but he put his body in the path of the attacker, slowed him down, helped dispossess him. Skyline with another throw in. Inside the 18. Shots a little bit behind the near post. I am a little bit surprised. We're almost halfway through this first half, and we haven't seen the first set of subs from Rockwall yet. I fully expect here in the next 2 or 3 minutes you're going to start seeing, looks like over there, from what I can see, looks like Austin Huffam's getting warmed up. All right, corner kick coming up here from Skyline. Left-footed corner taker. You're going to see an in-swinger. Not very well taken. So far, that's got to be a little bit encouraging from Rockwall, whether Skyline's had opportunities for deep throw-ins or for any kind of set plays, any dead ball plays. They haven't seemed super effective, which is something that Rockwall does kind of have some expertise in. Great long ball there from Hudson Morgan. Gilliland working it. Oh.
And they're going to call him.
That's a little bit of a ticky-tack foul there. Gilliland did a great job of working through the body of the defender, getting his head on the ball, getting it past the defender. Referee saw it a little bit differently than I did, which means that once again the referee probably wrong.
Of course, great crowds here on hand for both schools here on a Tuesday night in late March, as the winner will move on to round 3 and try to keep that dream alive to end up in Georgetown.
Once again, Gilliland with a great opportunity here.
Oh.
Should, at the very least, earn a corner kick out of that, if not a foul.
He's wondering why nothing inside right there.
Seemed to be a little bit more physical there than the foul that was just called on him. They're calling that a goal kick. They're calling that off of Gilliland. Didn't even give him the corner out of that. All right. Not loving the officiating so far.
The hardest job in sports, being a referee.
Absolutely, especially a soccer referee. There is so much going on, and there's just, I mean, you have your 2 referee assistants on each sideline, but it's good opportunity there. Great job from the Skyline striker right there, bringing that ball down to his feet, creating an opportunity. Just got his hips swung around a little bit too much, got that ball wide right of the post. But, yeah, I'm a former coach. I'm always going to criticize refs. But at the same time, yes. I think more so than any other sport, refereeing soccer is the most difficult thing to do. You've got 22 kids on the field. You've got constant kinetic action and basically just one person having to watch all of it at all the time.
Absolutely. Looks like Benjamin Conley has checked in along with Austin Hoffman.
Oh, 7'9" Ben Connolly's in.
He's grown an extra inch since last time I saw him. So he was eating right over the break.
He's never not growing.
He is a massive human being, of course, coming in as a junior. Probably could pass as maybe a 21-year-old out there.
Or at the very least, 2 12-year-olds standing on each other's shoulders.
There's a movie where someone scored a goal. I think the Will Ferrell soccer movie where they used the little guy on the big guy. And scored a header.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Kicking and screaming.
Kicking and screaming,
there
exactly. Once again, Skyline with a little bit of an opportunity, but sent that ball well right. In fact, it's going to end up not even as a goal kick. It's going to end up as a throw-in. So Skyline's struggling right now. They're creating opportunities to finish. They haven't been on frame much yet. And as anticipated, we've got that substitution where Tanner Bailey is coming out, Gordon Holland is coming in. Both keepers against Saxe on Friday night had amazing games. There were a couple of opportunities late in regulation and late in overtime where Gordon Holland just made amazing saves. He's the much bigger body. Tanner Bailey's probably much more athletic. Don't tell Kenneth Holland that I said that about his son. But, they both bring their strong suits to the pitch. And so far, Coach Bowles has absolutely learned how to best utilize that.
Yeah, and if you follow the Lady Jackets during their state championship runs over the last few years, they used the two-keeper system. Of course, they did it after each half, not, quote, during the game, essentially. So, a lot of coaches use it in soccer.
Yeah, and that opportunity right there for Skyline is always what would worry me in this situation. I brought a fresh keeper in who I know is a great keeper, but he's literally just come off the bench, and the last thing you want to see there is a scoring opportunity. Skyline once again went well wide of the post on it, so nothing for Gordon Holland to have to deal with, but this will give him an opportunity to kind of get his sea legs under him and get into the rhythm and the flow of the match. And then that's all you can ask for when you bring a keeper in.
Of course, Skyline has had some quality high danger chances, just haven't had the body in the right position to put it in the net. So far, so good for Rockwall. Does coming in as a keeper, especially in a game with everything on the line, especially halfway through the half, is that a little more tense than you would be?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good Lord, yes. I mean, it has to be. And, and especially when you do this same thing again in the second half. Now, again, can't argue with Coach Bowles. It's worked for him. It's got him to this point. But, yeah, as each round progresses, the second half of this match is going to feel more tense than the second half of the match did against Saxe when you're chasing a goal. So, yeah, it'll get more tense. And, I trust Coach Bowles. He's going to be able to make the right call. He's going to know who's got the right mindset. You've got you've got a junior keeper and you've got a sophomore keeper. So you've got neither one of them are seniors. Neither one of them are 4-year players that have been toting the load for you for a number of years. But he knows their mentality. And again, I joked about this on last Friday night's broadcast. I coached Gordon for 2 years in middle school, and I never even knew he was a keeper the entire time. I mean, he was my center stone as a on my back line. He and Austin Huffam were my 2 center backs that held everything down for 2 amazing years of coaching them. No idea he could be a keeper no matter how many days we had at practice until he got to high school, and Bowles looked at him and said, "No, I think you're a keeper."
Sure enough, there you go.
And there
and that's how the story goes.
And then that's how it's supposed to go.
Just as you draw it up.
You build their confidence in middle school, and then you turn them over to the high school coaches, and you let the high school coaches help them figure out what they are. Brandon Alvarado, another great opportunity there. Earns another throw-in deep from Joshua Chen. Joshua Chen earned that throw-in deep for Rockwall. I think this is going to be Austin Huffam throwing this in, who specializes on the long throw-in. So there's absolutely every reason to believe they can create a scoring opportunity just from this throw-in.
Of course, the sidelines are a little tighter here at Forester Field. That's probably the one downfall about this stadium. The sidelines are pretty tight.
Completely.
Of course, you'll never guess who is tuning in to the area championship here on the network. Coach Garcia. Of course, the former Lady Jacket soccer head coach and the 2022 Coach of the Year. I think it was 2022. She'll correct me if I'm wrong. Right. It's either 22 or 23.
What up, Coach Gar? Miss you.
She will definitely correct me if I'm wrong.
All right, Rockwall once again earning a dead ball restart from a corner kick. Once again, Brandon Alvarado over here on the near side corner. Luxury you have here is you have 8'6" Ben Connolly right in the middle of the box. So if Alvarado can place this perfectly, it's going to be hard to prevent him from getting ahead on it. A little bit deep. Off the back, it looks like that was Cohen Salazar that came in, just couldn't quite get high enough to get a forehead on it. Skyline building a little momentum. Rockwall doing a good job. Oh, missed opportunity there from Connor Shaughnessy.
Oh, what a block.
Great block from Hudson Morgan. That all started. Skyline had a great run coming up the near side here. Connor got a little bit flat-footed, got beat. Skyline did a great job working the ball across the mouth of the goal. Went in for a clear scoring opportunity. Hudson Morgan comes in sliding, gets his leg up, deflects it over the crossbar, sets up this corner kick for Skyline.
If Hudson doesn't do that, it's probably 1-0.
It's 1-0 right now, yeah.
Because there was a wide open net for Skyline to put it in. Here comes a big corner kick for them.
Right-footed kicker, so this is going to be an outswinger. A little bit deep. Great job. Gordon Holland played that perfectly. Sent that ball a little bit deep. It's hard when your attacker's having to backpedal to get ahead on it, to get any kind of power on the header. So he kind of popped that up. Gordon did a great job of getting settled underneath it.
Of course, as you mentioned, Rockwall has been a defensive team most of this year. That's what they're known for. Not so much on the scoring, but they will defend all night long. And it's been successful all season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean that's their MO. That's where their power is. You've got a lot of younger players in your midfield, which kind of is the engine to your momentum offensively, but you've got these strong, deep, highly talented players on your back line, so that's who you trust. and every year you come in and you figure out what is it that I've got to work with this year as a coach, and you build your philosophy around where my strengths are. And
Absolutely.
Coach Bowles looked in and said, you know what, I don't see us as a team that's going to go out and score 4 or 5 goals a match. But we absolutely can be a team that throws up a lot of clean sheets, a lot of one-goal matches, and we win a lot of games 2-1, and that's what they've done this season.
They've won a bunch of matches, and that's why they're playing for the area championship. Of course, it's been a while since Rockwall has advanced past this round, so hoping this is the year that they get it done. Of course, the playoff format has changed just a little bit. There is no more regional tournament. It's been broken down into 2 games.
Right.
And then you go on to the state semifinals, which is not in Georgetown, but used to be in Georgetown. Essentially, you'd play in 2 tournaments. Now it's just 1 game at a time. So some soccer coaches love it, some absolutely despise it.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit to be said from both perspectives. I mean, the regional tournament, or the regional finals were always fun until you get to Georgetown. Adding an extra match, it's always risky.
Sure.
The coaches who love it are going to be the coaches who survive it, and you don't add up added injuries or nicks or things like that cost you that next round. But the coaches who benefit from that, the coaches who need an extra match to get their feet under them, it's going to work out well. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see at the conclusion of this season, the coaches who do make it all the way to Georgetown, their take on it.
Sure.
Because I think I kind of understand what the UIL's thinking was here. I just can't tell you whether or not it's good thinking or it's bad thinking. We'll just have to see how this plays out.
Of course, we liked it because we got to go down to Austin on the 1st of April where the weather's nice and warm and it's not cold. It's great. Usually the sun is shining down there for that regional tournament.
Great job there from Isaiah Ivey coming back to cover up for his center back who went down to make a save, couldn't get a clean touch on the ball. Isaiah Ivey did a good job of dropping back in and covering him and getting the ball cleared out, setting up this throw-in for Skyline.
Of course, we have just about 9 minutes to go here, 9:36 in fact, here in the first half. We remain deadlocked at 0. Or as the English say, 0-0.
Another opportunity there for Skyline, just a little bit wide of the near post. Again, Skyline created plenty of scoring opportunities here in the first half. They just don't seem to be quite as skilled on finishing as you would expect a team that's scored 40-plus goals this season to be. And that could have everything to do with the pressure that they're under from the back 4 for Rockwall.
Absolutely. We're going to have to work in some fancy words here. The doctor has shown up, so we have to make sure that we put in some big words here.
Again, I just need a little bit of time with her at halftime now that she's a doctor to kind of fix this thing in my back. It's a pain.
There's some chaos in front.
That's what you want. When you get the ball down inside the 6, you want chaos. Chaos is your friend. Great opportunity there from Rockwall. Now they've got to get back and get their shape back. Skyline is bringing the ball down in a hurry. Rockwall's doing a good job of getting back. Hudson Morgan cutting off the attacker. Wins possession. Great job of maintaining it there.
No surprise, Hudson has been the player of the game so far for Rockwall. Of course, stopping that insanely great chance by Skyline in front. He's taking it all away.
This is what you don't want if you're Skyline is Hudson Morgan bring the ball up the middle of the field. Oh, great scoring opportunity there from Rockwall. Hudson Morgan did a great job bringing the ball right up the gut. Looked like that may have been Jacob Archer, who's now moved over to the left side. Great scoring opportunity. Skyline keeper in perfect position. Picked it up off the mat.
And Hudson is breathing just fine. That was nothing. That was a nice little afternoon jog for him. But great play by Hudson going all the way back on defense, then running it all the way back up the field.
Well, and that's what he does. And as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, we know a certain center defender that used to play for the girls' team.
Yep.
That was
her MO.
That was her thing. Her and her older sister both.
Of course, shout out to the Weir family. Oh, no, they were tuning in 2 weeks ago.
Skyline set up the free kick from just inside the middle third of the field. Morgan sends it back out to midfield.
Of course, if you're Skyline coach, do you like what we've done so far? If you are a Raider fan, do you think they need to do a little bit more? Are they figuring out this Rockwall defense?
I mean, Skyline has I won't say they've dominated possession, but they've definitely possessed the ball more than Rockwall has. But again, not shocking. That's not exactly what Rockwall does best. I think if I'm the Skyline coach, I'm standing on the sidelines right now wishing I would have spent a couple of extra sessions in practice working on finishing, because they've created opportunities. They just have not really had quality finishes, at least as of yet. Neither of the Rockwall keepers have really been challenged. There have been a couple of shots on goal. There have been tons of shots that just haven't been on goal. They've been wide. They've been high. Some of them have been well wide. And again, it's not necessarily an indictment on the Skyline attackers. It may have everything to do with just the pressure that they're under from the Rockwall defenders. So, yeah, I think, as you get closer to halftime, right now, if I'm the Skyline coach, I'm talking to my guys. I'm talking them up. I'm keeping them confident. I'm pointing out how many opportunities we've had so far. But then I'm going to talk to them about being patient on their finishes.
Absolutely.
Skyline setting up on the near flag over here. Right-footed corner kick. Plays that ball low and short. And that's the opportunity Skyline was looking for right there. Played the corner kick. They played it low across the field, right into the middle of the circle. Great job from the Skyline defender that came up there. Strong leg. Finished that ball just under the crossbar, just out of the reach of Gordon Holland.
So Rockwall finds themselves down 1-0 here with just about 5:30 remaining here in the first half from Forrester Field. Of course, Rockwall has been in this position before, so it's nothing to panic about. They just got to now find some offense. So you got to think Skyline's probably not going to get many more glorious chances like that in this game. So Rockwall is going to have to find a way to answer back. And they've proven they can get the shots on goal they need. They just got to get one in the back.
No, absolutely. I mean, Rockwall has nothing to panic about right now because, as you said, this is a position they've been in before. Heck, this is a position they were in 4 nights ago and did just fine with the outcome. The key here is Skyline, for whatever frustrations they may have had, for whatever worry they may have had that they haven't jumped out to a big league like they're used to throughout the course of this season, now they have momentum on their side. Rockwall's got to manage that. Right? Sure. They have to maintain composure. They've got to create opportunities to remind themselves that nothing has changed just because this one goal has been scored, but also realize that Skyline's now got a little added win that they didn't have 2 minutes ago. You maintain that, you work through that, and you do the same thing that you did on Friday night. You come out in the second half, you keep doing what you're doing, you create opportunities. Rockwall has had better finishing opportunities, although not as many scoring opportunities in general. Skyline's had many more scoring opportunities and finally captured one. Rockwall just keeps doing what they're doing.
Got about 4 minutes to go here in the first half. Skyline leads Rockwall 1-0.
Throw in coming here from Brandon Alvarado.
Of course, the winner of this game will move on to play the Woodlands or Cypress Woods. Of course, that game will more than likely be somewhere out in East Texas.
Great layoff there from Jacob Archer. Joshua Tien over here on the right side.
Of course, there's no real wind here tonight, so that's not going to be much of a factor as it was, on Friday. Pretty calm, great temperature out there. The cramping hasn't seemed to set in as of yet, which is a good sign for both squads.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the perfect weather night to play this match because, I mean, the wind does impact things, especially when you play in a big stadium. You don't have to fight that tonight. Not high humidity, not super warm now that the sun has gone down. Should be fine. You just don't want to have to carry this on any longer than absolutely necessary. You want to try to take care of this in the second half and then move on to fight another day.
Of course, that weather does not look appealing on Friday, as it's going to be fairly windy for whoever advances on Friday, so that could change, and a little chilly as well. So Rockwall has about 2:20 here in the first half to see if they can even this thing up before halftime. If not, they will have 40 minutes in the second half to try to even this thing up.
Skyline with another late sub here.
Or Skyline probably trying to bleed a little clock here to get to halftime. The slow jog off the field.
So you asked earlier, if I'm the Skyline coach, what am I thinking? What am I planning to say to my kids? And then, the dynamics of that change once they netted that first goal. I still think if I'm Skyline's coach, I remind them of the opportunities they've had. You keep getting opportunities, good things will happen, as evidenced by the one goal they've got. If I'm Tony Bowles, what am I saying to my kids? Great opportunity here.
Oh.
Pena couldn't quite get on the end of that.
There's a big shot right into the chest.
So, again, that's the kind of exactly what we just saw right there. That's what, if I'm Tony Bowles, that's what I'm talking to my kids about. You've had opportunities. You've got shots on goal. You've got, for most of your shots you've taken, they've been on goal. So they're high-quality scoring chances. You keep taking them, and eventually one's going to go into the back of the net. And then you got to get the first before you get the second because that's what they learned on Friday night. It was at the very end of regulation when they got the first, and then you keep fighting through and keep creating opportunities. And, really the main thing for Rockwall is you want that momentum equalizer because I think Rockwall comes into this match as probably, or I will say by 5 minutes into this match, Rockwall was probably the much more confident team, how everything started out. And momentum shifted a little bit. Skyline's got a little bit of more confidence than what they had before. So, yeah, if I'm Rockwall, I just keep doing what I'm doing. You get that first one, and then that momentum shifts, and it's a game changer for you, as it was on Friday against Saxe.
Absolutely. Well, there it is. There is the whistle, which means we have reached halftime here at Forrester Field, part of the Dallas ISD School District. It is 1-0 Skyline, who calls Forrester Field home, have a 1-0 lead here on your Rockwall Yellow Jackets. There's 15 minutes here in the halftime spectacular. Of course, there's no marching bands. There's no drill team for soccer, so we brought the next best thing in. Dr. Bowles, we're going to get a headset for her and put her in the middle here. Maybe you can hear us now. That should be the answer to it. We're going to try this one, and we're just going to try to wing it here on this point. But I do think we are back here on the Rockwall ISD Sports Network. Yep, that did it. Sometimes you just have to press some buttons and see what happens.
You guys got to bear with us. We're working with a squirrel cage and a window unit up here, so we're making the best of what we've got to work with right now.
We had a little power outage. It might have thrown us off just a little bit, but we will be ready to roll here for the second half. Of course, Rockwall trails 1-0. We were happy to be joined by Dr. Kelsey Bowles, of course, the proud wife of Tony Bowles. Thankful for her for getting up here. If we win tonight, we'll have her back up next week. And
if you weren't able to hear tonight's interview with Dr. Bowles, just email Chris Curtis. He will send you the full printed transcript of the interview.
We have that all printed out for you just in case. So, but the big thanks to Kelsey for walking all the way. Of course, Rockwall is on the far side, the visitor side of the stadium. So she is making her way back and hoping to bring the Rockwall Yellow Jackets some luck. Of course, they fall down 1-0 late in that first half, but they are looking to turn the tides here. Of course, they trailed Sachse 1-0 in Garland just last Friday night, and they found a way to get that game to overtime and eventually pull it out 2-1 and move on to this game. Of course, the winner of this game moves on to round 3 somewhere in the East Texas area. The rumor is it's the Tomato Bowl out in Jacksonville, Texas, not Florida. But if you are in Jacksonville, Florida, you can watch the game right here if Rockwall advances. If you're a Skyline fan, I don't know what to tell you. You might be in trouble.
All right, so as we kick off the second half, the key right now is momentum. Yes, if you're Rockwall, you'd love to score an early goal and get the momentum that way, but you want to create opportunities. You want to find a way to get Skyline back on their heels a little bit. What you don't want is to give Skyline added opportunities to put a second one on the board. So turning momentum is objective 1. Scoring the equalizing goal is objective 2. You get that done, then you definitely put Skyline back on your heels, and Rockwall takes the reins of this horse over for themselves again. So early opportunity. Andres Pena sent that ball a little bit high. And by a little bit, I mean Bob Euchre's a little bit high. That was about 20 feet over the crossbar. But still, that's exactly what Rockwall needs to do. Put yourself down in a position to create shots, preferably shots on goal, and start backing Skyline up a little bit.
And you know how Tony Bowles is. I'm sure that halftime adjustment was very calm, cool, collected. There is no panic in this Rockwall team, and you're going to probably see his personality come out a little bit with this team. He likes to give his kids, take the reins. This is your team. This isn't my team. This is your team. You go make this happen. And sure enough, that has worked all season long. We'll see if they can finish this off here in 38 minutes.
Well, another good opportunity there from, I believe that was Edward Bertrand from the far sidelines. Actually got the ball just over the frame. Wasn't a shot on goal, but it was close to it. But that's 2 shots. Literally in the first minute and a half of this second half. That's a good sign for Rockwall. Keep plugging away. Eventually, one of them's going to find the back of the net. You got to keep working on it. The one thing you don't know from a Skyline perspective is Gilliland with an opportunity here. You don't know from the Skyline perspective is scoring that goal late in the first half. Did that impact them at halftime? Or now they're, because confidence is one thing, but you're only a couple of small steps away from overconfidence. So,
sure.
Once again, we're just 2.5 minutes into this half. Rockwall's already got 2 shots, and now they've got a deep, long throw-in inside the 18. Andres Pena with an opportunity, went just a little bit wide. Looked like that may have been Nolan Foster on the end of that. Just couldn't get his foot on it before it slipped wide of the near post.
Of course, if you're Rockwall or Skyline, do these sidelines cause a little bit of an issue? Of course, Skyline's probably used to this because they play here.
Yeah.
If you're Rockwall, this sideline is obviously not like Wilkerson Sanders.
It's, it reminds me when I was coaching and we would have to play at Highlander Stadium at Highland
Sure.
Park, and the sidelines are literally
It's
3
even smaller
feet
than
away.
here.
Yeah, they're 3 feet away from the stands. It creates an issue from a depth perception standpoint. It doesn't make you feel like you've got as much of a full run if you're chasing stuff down towards the sideline, because you've got such a short landing area between the sideline and the bottom of the bleachers. So that can take some getting used to. There's really not – trying to think off the top of my head, at least in district, there's really not many stadiums that Rockwall would play in that would have tight sidelines like this. So I'm sure it takes some getting used to, but these kids play enough games between high school soccer and between club soccer. They're going to have been in situations like this enough to where it shouldn't be that much of an impact.
Speaking of that, another throw in over there. Big turnaround.
Oh, chaos in the box. Opportunity there.
They're going to call that on Rockwall. Shout out to the head coach of the Rockwall Yellow Jackets and the athletic coordinator, Trey Brooks, tuning in. Big shout out to him. Said he missed the thrilling interview with Dr. Bowles, but
his ears were burning because we were talking about him at halftime.
That's true. Of course, we have that transcript, as Coach Webb said, so we'll get that out after the game. But big thanks to Kelsey for coming in and chatting with us a little bit. No superstitions on game day, at least intense ones.
Or at least not that she would share with us.
Exactly.
All right. Seeing a lot more aggressiveness from Rockwall as we start the second half. And it's similar to what we saw last week. That's one of the things that Jamison Sterrett and I were talking about as the second half progressed last Thursday night against Saxe. We saw the intensity pick up really from both teams. And by the time we got into added time, there was quite a bit of chippiness. Saxe ended up playing the last couple of minutes of the second overtime, down a man from a red card. So Rockwall is not afraid of anybody. They will step up the physicality against any team I watched them play this season. So desperation kind of breeds bravery sometimes, and we may be seeing a little bit of that starting to spark from Rockwall right now.
Yeah, you'll definitely see the chippiness get up just a little bit here as we inch closer to the end of the game, as both these teams will figure to play a little bit desperate as somebody's season will end here in the area round.
Hudson Morgan with a great job dispossessing the Skyline Raider there. Nolan Foster sending the ball up to Gilliland. Gilliland, good job maintaining possession.
Nice feet work.
A little bit slow there getting the ball off his feet from Foster, but again, an opportunity here. Skyline's going to restart this with a free kick from just outside their 18. On one hand, you hate that you gave up possession, but on the other hand, a free kick turns into a 50-50 ball. One more opportunity here to regain possession and start to build this from midfield.
Of course, shout out to Trevor Webb for running our camera here tonight. No relation to Rodney or Reggie.
Ball was a little bit deep there from Pena. Of
course, as you mentioned, we haven't seen a ton of those cramps here either. Maybe that does start to tick in here just a little bit.
Foster bring the ball up the far sidelines. Got the ball across into the 6, but a little bit deep, right into the keeper's mitt. One thing I am noticing here, starting out this second half, looks like Austin Huffam is starting at one of the center mid positions, which I think is a change from how he started the first half. But, Huffam is a great physical player, does a great job with the ball in the air. Coach Bowles may have seen something in the first half that thinks his skill set's a little bit more important to him to at least get the second half started off.
It looks like Rockwall's playing a lot more aggressive, too, than they were in that first half.
Brandon Alvarado, nice move. Sending the ball back out to Andres Pena. Oh, great ball there. Still maintaining possession. Gilliland keeps possession just inside the 18. I think we got an offsides call there.
A little bit of a late offsides call there, but it was confirmed.
So, again, Jackets are coming out full of vim and vinegar in this second half. They're taking the game to Skyline, and as I said at halftime, I think that's probably exactly what Coach Bowles, that was his main talking point at halftime is, the first half was fine, except for the one goal that they scored from distance. The first half was fine. You had great scoring opportunities. You keep doing that, you're going to put one in the net, and they're actually coming out, with more opportunities early here in the second half than they had throughout the first half. So they're doing exactly what they need to do. Now it's just a matter of turning that into something. Manny Perez on the ball, out to Andres Pena. A little bit of a soft touch there.
Of course, Rockwall has controlled possession for most of this half. Of course, we're only 10 minutes into it. But you'll start seeing Rockwall become a little more desperate here. Here's another big opportunity.
Oh, there you go. Jack Gilliland ties it up. A great ball in from Nolan Foster. Jack Gilliland did a quick one-touch, turned the ball around, and centered it just inside the far post. So, again, as we were saying, Chris, you don't change what you did in the first half because what you did in the first half was fine. You just didn't find the back of the net. They'd come out doing the same thing with a little bit more aggressiveness in the second half. And now Skyline is in a position that they're probably not very used to. It's that momentum swing we were talking about. Rockwall now has a little added burst of energy. Skyline, you've even got a couple of players throwing tape or wristbands or something on the turf. They're getting a little bit frustrated. That's exactly, if you're Coach Bowles, that's exactly what you want to see out of the kids in the black jerseys.
Yeah, you're seeing a little bit of frustration there from Skyline, and Rockwall just kind of bouncing back and forth their feet like, let's get this going, ready to keep rocking and rolling. The pickle juice at halftime worked.
Yeah.
It took 10 minutes, but Rockwall has evened this match up 1-1. 30 minutes left potentially in somebody's season here, and Rockwall right now has all the momentum.
Well, and Rockwall has a real opportunity right now with that momentum. Go down and do something else. They've made a couple of subs here. Ben Connolly's coming in with some fresh legs at that striker position. If you're Rockwall, keep this momentum going. Keep doing what you've done for the first 10 minutes of this second half, creating opportunities. So far, Tanner Bailey has not been challenged at all in the second half. We're 25% of the way through it. Now, Skyline is going to earn an opportunity here from a free kick just to the near side outside the 18. So Bailey may get challenged here. But, again, if you're Rockwall, get possession, go back down. You've done everything that you needed to do in the first 10 minutes. Keep that momentum going. You get Skyline down 2-1, and it may make all the difference in the world.
Where Skyline has the opportunity here to go up 2-1, and that one is cleared.
Great job
out.
Clearing from Hudson Morgan. Ben Connolly comes in to shut down the follow-up. Tanner Bailey got a little bit ugly with that, but came back on the rebound, covered it up.
Every time I see that scoreboard glare, I think it's lightning in the distance coming out. But no lightning. It is a crystal clear night here in Dallas. And it's a 1-1 match. Winner moves on to round 3. Loser goes home for the summer. Spring, whatever we're in right now. Yeah. Whatever Texas season we have going on right now.
I guess we're in spring now, barely.
That makes sense, I guess.
The trees and the pollen tell me we're in spring.
Of course, let us know where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and who you're cheering for on our YouTube chat. We are live from Forrester Field in Dallas, Texas, home of the Skyline Raiders and a couple other DISD schools. Of course, a beautiful facility here. There's another shot.
Another opportunity there.
You absolutely have to love this aggressive nature of the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. They have just put the pedal to the metal, and they're trying to roll.
Oh, they absolutely are. I mean, it's momentum is a fickle beast. I mean, it comes and goes, and It left Rockwall after Skyline scored that first goal. And even though this is just Rockwall tying the match up, momentum's firmly in their control right now. Take advantage of it because, again, at some point in time, there's a good possibility you're going to lose it. So take as much advantage of it as you can while you've got it.
Of course, I do hear the Venezuelas. What do we not Venezuelas? Venezuelas. Of course, out in full force. We are locked in a booth here with no sound, so we are all the noise you get, I guess. We do apologize for that halftime lack of volume, and you had to stare at a picture of the Bowles family, but
hey,
not a bad family to look at.
Not a bad family to look at.
There, you're fine. They are Rockwall royalty through and through. And that royalty is trying to move on to round 3. It is 1-1. Rockwall has tied this match up early in the second half.
Got Cohen Salazar subbed out, and it looks like another freshman, Joshua Chin, has subbed into one of those forward positions. So Rockwall playing this second 10 minutes of this critical game with 2 freshmen on the field, with Joshua Chin and with Andres Pena, which does nothing but bode well for the future of this program.
No doubt.
So we've got a throw in coming here from Rockwall from a fairly advantageous position. May be difficult to get this deep into the 18, but at least you'll get this ball thrown in far enough to be able to create some kind of an opportunity out of it. Austin Huffam with the throw.
Shout out to Scott Murray watching from Fate. Let's go, Austin. Big-time Yellow Jacket fan. And another shout out to Coach Bowles from William.
Opportunity here for Skyline. They've got a runner. Oh, and just wide once again. Once again, Tanner Bailey comes out. He did everything he could do. That was a great transition from Skyline. They did a great job there. Once the forward got inside the 18, instead of trying to take a shot on his own, he laid it off to his runner coming up on his left side. Had a wide open net to shoot out once he forced Tanner Bailey to come out. And once again, the Skyline Raiders went wide. A shot on goal turns into just a shot as it went about 5 or 6 feet wide right of the far post.
Of course, some of the Skyline fans thought that went in. They were getting really excited, and they said, it did not go in. That was a wide open, about as wide open of a net as you can get in the area championship, and just wide. Lucky for Rockwall there, as it remains 1-1.
So Bailey setting up to take the goal kick here. Skyline with a foul there at midfield. I think Andres Pena drew that foul. Hudson Morgan standing over the ball for this free kick restart. Sends this ball in deep. Opportunity. It's going to turn into a corner kick for Rockwall. A great service there from Hudson Morgan from midfield. Sent the ball almost 60 yards inside the 6-yard box. All that Skyline could do was try to get a foot on it to deflect it. They deflected it over the end line. Now we're going to have a corner kick from, I believe that's Brandon Alvarado once again.
Shout out to the Lady Jackets, up 11-2 right now in softball over North Forney.
And 9'3" Ben Connolly back into that striker position for this corner kick.
He's grown 2 feet in about 30 minutes, apparently.
Well, I think the Skyline kid trying to defend him would not disagree with you.
Exactly, just looking up. He could probably just reach up and touch the goal.
Ben's number is midway up on the back of his jersey, and the Skyline defender's nose is right in the middle of his numbers.
Just pushing the defender away. Blocking the keep as well.
Good ball. Oh, Connolly got it off the back of his forehead. Couldn't get turned quite quick enough.
That looked exactly like what they were trying to do, is take advantage of that height and try to put one in.
Yeah. Well, as they always say, I can coach a kid to be great at taking shots. I can coach a kid to be a great defender. I can coach a kid to be great at dribbling the ball, but I can't coach a kid to be tall.
Exactly. You have to take advantage of that, absolutely.
Huffam winning the ball back for Rockwall. Center ref got taken down there at the 20.
Shout out to Ben Conley on the chat. From some guy. The name is some guy.
All right, Skyline mounting a little bit of a possession here. Hudson Morgan once again cleans it up. Sends it back upfield. Jacob Archer gets on the end of it.
Center ref's having a day. Nearly hit in the face with a cross right there.
Oh, that's got to be a call. That's going to be a penalty kick. Andres Pena, the super freshman, the Energizer Bunny, brings that ball down hard. He did a great job there. As soon as he got inside the box, he maintained possession but turned his back to the Skyline defender, forcing the Skyline defender to have to play through him. Andres takes the fall inside the box, penalty kick. Got to think we're going to see Hudson Morgan right here because there may be nobody better, certainly in North Texas, at finishing penalty kicks. I don't want to jinx him, than Hudson Morgan is.
Of course, he ended one of the I-30 Classics in this position right here. He's going to try to put the Yellow Jackets up 2-1 with 20 minutes to go.
That's what he does. 2-1 Rockwall. Hudson Morgan makes it count. All the credit goes to Andres Pena, the freshman forward midfielder for Rockwall. Did a great job of not only maintaining possession, but positioning his body where the defender had no choice but to play through him. Andres knew that was coming, went down when the defender played him from behind, earned the penalty kick, and then Hudson Morgan does what he does. You put him in a pressure situation, you bet your money on him 100% of the time.
So Rockwall has doubled up their scoring here in the second half. It's 2-1 with 20-41, and it's deja vu all over again, just not in overtime so far.
Let's not get to that point.
Let's end this in 20 minutes. Rockwall is 20 minutes away from moving on to round 3. Of course, we're going to have a keeper switch here in a crucial moment of this game. Of course, the keepers haven't really been tested at as much in this second half as they were in the first half, but we'll see what the final 20 minutes provide. Rockwall now up 2-1. Kelsey Bowles. Told you.
Kelsey Bowles. She did this.
If you missed the halftime interview,
y'all didn't get to hear it,
which
but
you probably
yes.
did, she is the Energizer Bunny for this squad, and she is the good luck charm. So she will have to potentially visit us next week or later in the week if round 3 is happening.
Skyline quickly works the ball back down inside the 18. Good job from, I believe that was Huffam, clearing that out. Earns the corner kick for Skyline. Right-footed kicker, in-swinger. Going to create a scoring opportunity here. A little bit deep once again. Again, same thing that we saw earlier in the match. Opportunity. They sent the corner kick in a little bit deep. You've got your attacker having to backpedal to play it. Less control there. Set plays have not been Skyline's best friend, at least not so far this evening.
Of course, if you're Skyline, now you have to get desperate, like Rockwall was having to get to start the half. Now you're going to start seeing some chances here for Skyline. They're going to have to try to figure something out here in 19 minutes. And Rockwall is just going to have to simply keep their cool and do what they do best, and that's defend.
Well, and not just do what they do best, but win second halves. That's maybe what they do best. And, as we mentioned early in the broadcast tonight, Skyline is much more accustomed to coming out, going ahead early, and then just being able to run clock in the second half. Now they're in a position with, less than 19 minutes to go left in this match, and they can't run clock. They've got to find a way to get at least one more goal to run this thing past the next 18 and a half minutes. Once again, quick restart from the corner kick. They played it short. Skyline looking to work it back across. Oh, that was a great opportunity at finishing there from that Skyline midfielder. He came through, ball was behind him. He still launched himself up into almost a scorpion kick and got a lot of great foot on that ball, but sent it just a little bit wide left. Had that been on frame, that would have been really hard for Holland to get to.
Of course, for Skyline, that was a great opportunity, and they might be thinking about that empty net that they just missed to take the 2-1 lead on Rockwall earlier in the second half.
Well, if they're not thinking about it now, they'll be thinking about it a lot later tonight.
Absolutely.
If this doesn't go their way.
So we have an injury on the field, no whistle yet.
They got to get the ball out of bounds before he's going to stop play unless the down players in the run of play.
He's back on his feet. So we play on. Of course, you're going to see a lot of dump and chase, as they call it in my sport of hockey, where you just kind of try to waste some time here for Rockwall. But you might as well try to put one in at the same time and get that 2-goal advantage. Of course, here's that pressure now being applied by Skyline. They're going to try to do everything they can to keep their season alive.
Great job there from Brandon Alvarado. Had 2 Skyline attackers over there, put himself in perfect position. One to throw in. So, again, one of the things Rockwall players right now, when they get these dead ball restarts, eat as much clock as you can. If I'm Tony Bowles, I'm already thinking ahead. I'm gonna more frequently rotate, because every time I'm subbing a player in, I'm eating another 15, 20 seconds on the clock before there's a restart. So I'm starting to think, all right, I just subbed in 2 or 3 players. I need to be thinking in the next 2 or 3 minutes, who's the next player I'm going to sub in. It's gamesmanship, but at the same time, it's a coaching strategy. There's nothing wrong with it. Every coach worth their salt in a win-or-go-home match, when you're setting on a 1-goal lead, you're going to find every opportunity to eat up every 15 second, every 30 seconds that you possibly can.
Absolutely. My shin guards are a little loose. Need to fix those. My socks don't look good. Got to try to waste as much time as you can here if you're Rockwall. Of course, Rockwall, 15:39 remaining in this game. A win moves them on to round 3. Somewhere, more than likely in East Texas. The rumor is the Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville.
Great job just a minute ago from Ezekiel Varghese, doing a good job of stepping up from his midfield position, winning possession, getting it back upfield. Got a call here from a slide tackle. I think this is called on Andres Pena. Skyline's going to get the restart from midfield. "15 minutes left here in the second half of this area round playoff match, where we see your Rockwall Yellow Jackets holding a 2-1 lead over the Skyline Raiders. Jack Gilliland back in the match at that striker position. One of the things, Chris, we talked about last week at the match at Homer Johnson Stadium, they have all the fans sitting on the home side.
Sure.
Here, you've got the Rockwall fans sitting on the visitor side, the Skyline fans sitting here on the home side. But one of the great advantages when if you're the team ahead, when both teams are sitting on one side, every time you clear a ball into the visitor stands, you got to wait for somebody to go get it, which
Absolutely.
is a great opportunity to run clock. But tonight, there's only some sections of the visitor stands that aren't occupied. So a minute ago, or a couple of minutes ago, Hudson Morgan tried to clear one out, and I think he tried to clear it over the stands. Skyline wins possessions after the Jackets free kick there. Andres Pena does a good job working through the attacker, winning a throw-in.
Of course, going back in my records, and I've been back a little bit, and I've been trying to figure, I should have asked Tony before we started. I don't know the last time Rockwall has made it past the area round in the playoffs. I know for a fact it has not happened since 2020, and I know we go a little deeper than that. So this would be historic for the Rockwall Yellow Jackets soccer program if they are able to hold off Skyline the next 13 minutes. As we've seen the Lady Jackets advance the furthest they've ever made it over the last several years, setting records, also getting to the state championship game. Of course, we saw the Rockwall Heath Hawks get to the state championship game a couple years ago. So Rockwall will look to make some history here tonight if they can hold on the next 12:54.
Well, and boys soccer in Region 2 is
Tough.
It's deep. It's amazing. I mean, last year, Rockwall's boys varsity team was incredibly talented, but then you have to run up against Duncanville in the second round, and Duncanville was a juggernaut. It's tough. You come out of this, you get to the finals of this region, and you have really accomplished something. I mean, for everything that we may talk about, don't know how challenged Skyline was throughout district, maybe outside of Duncanville, but the point is, Skyline still played a first-round playoff match last week as well. Mm-hmm. They beat somebody else that was a playoff team. So this is a quality team. And the fact that you're up 2-1 with 12 minutes left in this match says a lot about your program, not only the depth and the talent of your program, but, really the way they played, their resilience. The fact that until the final buzzer sounds, I don't think these kids are ever going to quit on themselves.
And really, this Rockwall team was maybe a win over Royce City away from potentially winning that district championship over you, because they did beat Heath, both times. They had that tiebreaker. So it came down to really the last couple games.
Opportunity here from Skyline. Oh, and they tied it up. Skyline comes down just outside the numbers on the right side, sends a deep ball into the far post. Skyline had a late runner coming in, got a foot on it, snuck it just past Gordon Holland. So we are back to all knotted up at 2 with 11:31 left here to play in regulation.
Yeah, if you're Rockwall, you're going to want that one back. That one just kind of broke down in front of them.
Well, it started from the restart.
Sure.
They're setting up a goal kick. You had a couple of Rockwall defenders there that had their back to the free kick taker, and it's thinking he was going to play the ball long, but instead of playing it long, he played it short to a runner coming up his right side. That runner then sends the long ball in and sent it perfectly. I mean, a great job from Skyline finishing that.
So these two teams knotted up 2-2. Each has thrown the first punch, punched back, and punched back again, as we are leveled up at 2-2. With 11 minutes to go here in the area championship. If it's not settled by then, we go to 2 10-minute overtimes. If it's not decided there, we go to sudden death PKs to decide who moves on. Buckle up.
Worst possible way to finish any do-or-die match ever. But
absolutely.
I know why you have to do it. I was incredibly thankful Friday night we didn't get to that point. But it's the worst way to go about deciding a match. But you got to do what you've got to do. Both teams are in the same boat.
Absolutely, and the refs are more than fairly enough allowing these kids to play, as they know what's on the line as well. And Skyline has seemed to gather a little bit of momentum here after that goal, and they kind of were pushing.
Well, and I do think now with about 10 minutes left in this match, you're three-quarters of the way through this second half. I think you're going to see a lot more, in air quotes, effort put forth by both teams.
Sure.
And by that, I mean you're going to see a lot more slide tackles. You're going to see, I won't say desperation, but you're going to see teams that are going to try to get away with whatever they can get away with, because any single possession right now determines whether your season progresses for another match or you go home and turn in uniforms for the weekend.
Of course, both these teams have had fantastic seasons, and they would like for their journey to continue.
Absolutely. Pena with the ball midfield. Sends it back to Alvarado. Looking to hit Gilliland running. Oh, nearly a mistake from the Skyline keeper there. Tried to keep it from going out of bounds, giving up the corner kick, and nearly left it sitting on a plate for Gilliland.
Of course, the Skyline fans getting loud on this side. You might can hear that. That is not thunder. That is feet stomping in the crowd. It's getting a little more physical down there as both these teams know what's on the line.
8:45 left. Rockwall just inside their middle third of the field. Brandon Alvarado looking to get the ball restarted with the throw-in. Sends it down to Jacob Archer. Andres Pena couldn't keep it in bounds. Sets up a throw-in for the Raiders. Alvarado played through the back of a Skyline player there. Not a serious foul, but definitely one that the referee's going to have to call. Sets up a free kick for Skyline. Alvarado and Archer both marking up on the attacker, the midfielder for Skyline. He does a good job of splitting the difference between the two of them.
What a move.
And Gilliland comes over and cleans it up, creating a throw-in for Skyline. Pena draws the foul there. Rockwall will now have a free kick from the 20-yard line. Morgan sets up over this. Huffam lays it back off. Oh, a little bit heavy there from Pena. Oh, I guess that was off Skyline player's foot. Oh, Nolan Foster loses possession on the far sidelines. Skyline with the throw-in. Manny Perez sends the ball back into the middle of the field.
Does your game plan change any for Rockwall if you're, a team that likes to defend and hold off team scoring? Now that you're going to have to find at least one more.
Well, I mean, on one hand, yeah, you've got to find at least one more. But on the other hand, I mean, if this were 2-1 right now, Skyline, as opposed to 2-2, Hudson Morgan with the run, then, yeah, I would be saying exactly what I said last week when they were down 1-0. You don't care if it's 1-0. I don't care if I lose this match 3-0. I'm going to sell out, do everything I can to get opportunities. But you got to be smart. You're still playing your game. You don't want to give up an easy goal and lose this thing 3-2 if you don't have to. Even once Rockwall went up 2-1 late in the second overtime last week, and Saxey went down a man where they only had 10 on the field, Saxey still came down with 30 seconds left and created a great scoring opportunity that Gordon Allen had to make a great save on. So you don't want to do something like that. You want to put yourself in a position like they're in right now, long throw in into the 18, create a scoring opportunity as many times as you can in the next 5.5 minutes.
How about create some chaos right here?
Well, I mean, this is the opportunity. This is how that happens.
Of course, Tony Bowles has the ball in his hand over there. I thought he was coming in for a minute. Looks like he was helping draw up the play, what they're about to try to happen here.
All right, corner kick. So Huffam's throw results in coming off the chest of a Skyline player. Creates a corner kick opportunity for Brandon Alvarado with that strong left leg of his. So this is what Rockwall thrives on. 4 minutes and 45 seconds left. This is your maybe not your last opportunity, but this is certainly your best opportunity you've had since this match was tied up to go back and take it back over.
Big time corner kick here for Rockwall.
Center defender's got Jacob Archer completely wrapped up in front of the goal.
They play on.
Could have been a call. Oh,
there's something.
Oh, you've got to call that. Oh.
Blocking the back and nothing was called.
Andres Pena did a great job, put himself in position. The kid ran right through his back, and no call at all from the ref. You know, on one hand, that's got to be a call. On the other hand, you've already given one penalty kick to Rockwall, and that ref is going to swallow that whistle before he gives them a second one.
Yeah, you might see them let them play this one out here, as they know what's on the line with 3:51 remaining in the game.
Well, and the thing you worry about, too, since he did give a penalty kick to Rockwall earlier, you worry that he may be more inclined to equal that out with an opportunity if it comes up for Skyline than he would to give Rockwall a second one. All right, Skyline, the opportunity there, but sends that ball well over the football crossbar.
That's 3 points, but the wrong sport.
Exactly.
The old Ted Lasso lingo.
Well, something that a couple of these Rockwall players, that Gordon Holland and Austin Huffam, have a little bit of experience kicking the ball over that crossbar as opposed to the soccer one.
There's 3 minutes left to go. Each team will try to put it all on the line here to score in that final 3 minutes to avoid overtime. Of course, overtime, 2 10-minute halves. I guess you call them halves. A goal in the first half does not end the game. They will play the full 20. And if it's not decided by then, we go to sudden death PKs, which is the most stressful part of playoff soccer here in the state of Texas.
Hudson Morgan with the free kick from midfield. Nobody's on the end of that one. Sent that one a little bit farther left than what his attackers were set up for. Yeah, you know, that's the thing that most people don't realize, that if you're playing 2-10s, you're playing all of 2-10s. There is no golden goal. One team could score twice in the first 10-minute segment, and another team could score 3 times in the second 10-minute segment, and that's your final score. And again, if they are still tied at the end of both 10-minute extra periods, then we do go to penalty kicks.
There was a lot of chaos there at midfield. Both players went down. Refs letting them play on.
Oh, Hudson Morgan, good job cleaning that up.
Unless something truly drastic happens, they won't call it at this point.
No, I tend to agree with that. There's an opportunity for Skyline.
There was some big-time help right there. On defense, I believe that was that Bertrand?
Yeah, I think so. The ball came off of a Rockwall defender, setting up this corner kick from Skyline. From the right flag, look like they're taking this right-footed. It's going to be an outswinger, a little bit deep once again. But right back in the middle of the box, that was dangerous for them earlier. Oh. Another great opportunity there. Rockwall's got to do a better job of clearing that out. I actually felt like that came off of a Rockwall midfielder's foot, but the referees awarded that as a goal kick. 52 seconds left in regulation.
Skyline had a couple chances there to put this one away. To no avail. We play on. Ref is just not calling anything at this point.
Nope. Hudson Morgan tried to clear that as far back into the bleachers as he could, but it came off the concrete abutment there.
Rockwall clearing it out.
Final 20 seconds of this match, of this regulation.
You're going to see Rockwall just dump it and try to eat clock and move on to overtime.
Yeah, I think Hudson Morgan sent that ball over to Fair Park.
Of course, that's 1 second, and that will do it for regulation here in the area round. Rockwall Skyline knotted up at 2. Of course, Skyline took the 1-0 lead into halftime. Rockwall 2 unanswered. And with about 13 minutes left in the game, Skyline ties it up 2-2 course, both coaches are having a conversation. I don't know if it's a friendly one with the referees right now. I think both head coaches a little intrigued by some of those non-calls late in the game, but ref says, let's play on. Let's decide it the right way. So that's exactly what we're going to do, Coach Webb. We are going to play sudden death overtime, 2 halves. Well, it's not sudden death, I guess.
No.
Sudden death will be when we get to the PKs,
right,
if we get there. So if you're Tony Bowles right now, what are you telling your team? You have to obviously like your effort in the second half. Maybe not the last 13 minutes or so, but you got to be at least pleased that you're back into the overtime period here. Stressful if you're a Rockwall Yellow Jacket fan.
You know, and I think if I'm either coach, I'm telling my kids exactly what hopefully they told them at halftime is, you know, what we're doing is working. It's created opportunities. You know, Rockwall has managed to pull 2 goals out of this in regulation as a defensive first team. So, you know, that second half, the first 10, 15 minutes of the second half, Rockwall, despite the fact they were down 1-0 at the time, Rockwall took the match to Skyline. They created many more quality opportunities the first 15 minutes of that second half. But then, again, momentum is a fickle thing. You know, Rockwall had momentum on their side for a while. They earned the penalty kick, went up 2-1, and then Skyline became a little bit more desperate. Next thing you know, momentum has shifted a little bit. I think both teams have to be pleased, I would think. I don't know Skyline well enough to where they may not be pleased only having 2 goals through 80 minutes of regulation, but they've got to be pleased that they now realize they're up against a high quality opponent, and they've still managed to get this thing into added time. So if I'm Tony Bowles, I'm just telling the kids, keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating opportunities. Sure. You know, if we get up a goal in this first or second added time period, do not rest on your laurels. Don't get caught back on your heels. It felt like after they went up 2-1, that aggressiveness that we talked about from Rockwall early in the second half kind of went away a little bit. I think maybe they went a little bit early to trying to eat clock, and so maintain. You got 20 more minutes to play. You've got half of a half to play. And they have every opportunity. You know, I think we had the same conversation on Friday night. I think it's going to be interesting to see what does Bowles do with his keeper rotation. Does he start back out with Bailey in goal? Does he leave Gordon Holland in there to start this second? Because I pretty well feel confident that whoever plays his first 10 is not going to be the person that plays the second 10. And those are things you've got to think, because in the back of your mind, you're also thinking about, all right, if we're still tied after these 2 10s, you know, who do I want to have in goal for penalty kicks? You know,
Sure.
Do I want it to, you know, if I feel better with Bailey in goal for penalty kicks, do I want him to play the first 10 and then be setting for 10 and then come back in cold for penalty kicks? Or do I want him playing the second 10 and then being the in-focus keeper when we get to penalty kicks? Or maybe you feel the same way about Holland. So I think all of those things are churning in his mind, but as far as what I think he's over there talking to the boys in the huddle right now, he's telling them to keep fighting the same fight they've been fighting, right? They've come up against a team that has scored twice as many goals this season as they have, and they've taken them into added time. You know, it's completely possible that one more goal makes all the difference. Just make sure it's us that gets it.
Absolutely. Of course, the winner of this game moves on to play the Woodlands or Cypress Woods. We do not have a final score on that game as of yet. Of course, that game will surely be ending about the same time as ours, as it did kick off at exactly the same time as ours. Of course, those schools based down in the Houston area. So the hot rumor is the Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville, Texas, not Florida, as I said earlier in the broadcast. Hopefully nobody heard that one, but it is in Jacksonville, Texas for round 3. Of course, that will be See, now I get confused. It's the regional semifinal now. It used to be the quarterfinal back in the day.
Right.
Now it is the regional semifinal. So you basically skip that quarterfinal matchup, of course, and now you play the regional semifinal. So one of these two teams will be heading on to the regional semifinal in maybe 20 minutes or maybe just a little bit longer. Great crowd on hand here at Forrester Field, home of Skyline. Of course, many other teams as well, as Dallas ISD has a bunch of schools that share a bunch of complexes. Shout out to Todd Lamb. Of course, got a hold of him earlier in the week to get us set up here in the booth. They've been nothing but fantastic to us here at Allow to bring you this game here tonight.
Well, it looks like we've got our answer, Chris. Tanner Bailey, as I probably expected, just because it's his turn. Tanner Bailey is going to start out this first 10-minute added time period in goal for the Yellow Jackets.
Of course, Rockwall will have possession first in this 10-minute overtime number 1.
All right, Rockwall starts out the kickoff, sends the ball deep over the end line, setting up a goal kick for Skyline. Looks like the same starting 10 field players that started the second half for Rockwall.
Of course, that old adage, jacket fight never dies. See if they can live up to that motto here. As we have seen some special JFND moments over the years.
Absolutely. Who's he going to call this on? This could go either way. I believe that was probably Nolan Foster over there. Foster with the ball on his feet. Sends a long ball up. Connects with Gilliland. Connects with Manny Perez. And out here to Andres Pena. Perez back to Pena. Back to Gilliland. Oh, Gilliland earns a free kick. Could potentially be an opportunity. A little bit far out to have a high-quality opportunity. But if you had you've got a play drawn up to where you send this ball in just in front and have somebody be able to get down there and run under it, great opportunity to pull that one out of your bag of tricks.
Absolutely. That was the time. Of course, he'll be kicking from about the 20 on the football field of things. Speaking of cramps, we got a little bit here on the Skyline sideline, it does look like. All is well, though, just a cramp.
It's like Nolan Foster and Brandon Alvarado both standing over this. When we saw this similar situation in the first half, Alvarado took this. From this particular angle, would not be surprised to see Foster take this. We'll see how this plays out. Looks like Alvarado's taking it. Oh, skied that one a little bit.
Just a little bit high.
Plenty of leg, just couldn't get the top spin on that he needed.
Of course, the pressure is going to mount each and every minute that clock ticks off as somebody's season obviously falls tonight. And somebody will celebrate into the night here in Dallas.
Oh.
Of course, both these teams putting it all on the line here. In the 6A playoffs.
Gilliland with the foul there and setting up a free kick here for Skyline.
Of course, Rockwall decked in all white, Skyline decked in all black. If you're just joining us, it has been a great match.
It's Edward Bertrand bringing the ball up, gets the ball inside the 18. Oh, one touch too many there. Put himself in a great position, though. That's exactly the kind of aggressiveness you want to see from your forwards and your midfielders right now. Once again, foul called on Rockwall. Rockwall has picked up the lion's share of these early calls here in the first added time period.
little bit of acting on both sides out there in this very important overtime number 1. Of course, if a goal is scored, we still play on. We will play overtime too, no matter what. So essentially, you have 16 minutes here to play with. It's a great header.
It's a great ball there from Gilliland. If Bertrand could have got on the end of that, they really had something going there. Ball hung up a little bit on Gilliland once he got it in the air. Good ball there. Oh, Bertrand with the opportunity from distance. Got defender right in his face. You channel that one side or the other, and you may have a little something going there.
Rockwall getting some nice touches here. Just haven't had a true one on goal yet.
Huffam setting up for the throw-in. Looks like he sent the ball up to a kid in the stands to wipe the ball off with his shirt.
That might be a Bulls kiddo over there. Of course, here's that chaos you talked about, but Skyline's able to get it out.
Alvarado sends the ball back to Shaughnessy. Rockwall does seem to be falling a little bit more into the trap of when the defenders get the ball on their feet, they're just sending long balls. They're, as you the term you used earlier with hockey, they're doing a lot of dumping and chasing right now as opposed to trying to work the ball through the midfield. And really it seems like a number of their opportunities this year have come from trying to build at least through the middle of the field and then trying to dump a ball in. When you're trying to dump a ball in from 80 yards out, it's hard to create much of a quality opportunity unless you get some bounces that go your way.
Absolutely.
Skyline setting up here with a very important free kick, about 35 yards out, but for varsity soccer players, this is certainly within range. Tanner Bailey setting up, trying to get his defenders aligned properly.
Seen a lot of field goals this overtime.
Yeah, I'm surprised he from that distance out, I don't think he had to be quite as soft to get that one over the wall. I think he could have drilled that one a little bit more than he did. So fortunately for Rockwall, we're 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in this first 10-minute overtime period. Tanner Bailey with the free kick, or with the goal kick. Andres Pena once again sending a long ball up front.
Of course, we got about 3 minutes to go here in overtime number 1. As both teams kind of feeling each other out again. Of course, it has reached the 9 o'clock hour here in Dallas. Not too far from Rockwall High School, about 20-minute drive without traffic.
Wait, how do you get to anywhere in Rockwall without traffic?
There's no traffic in Rockwall. Big time throw in there.
All right, should earn a corner kick there for Rockwall.
And it will. So here's another opportunity for Rockwall with 2:30 remaining in overtime number 1.
And 9'9", Ben Connolly checks back into the game.
9 more inches in the last 30 minutes.
Let's hope he puts him to use this time.
Of course, last time he was in there for a corner, you knew exactly what they were doing. He's got a bear hug on him.
Wrapped up in a bear hug right now.
Referee saying, nope, not going to do that.
Kid's having to bear hug him around his waist, though. He can't reach up to bear hug him around his chest. Oh, good ball there. Good ball! He bent that in! He bent that in! It's got to be Brandon Alvarado right there from the corner kick with his strong left leg we've talked about all night long. I don't think that came off of anybody. I think that was just a well-taken in-swinger that bent in just inside the back post. Great job there, putting your Jackets up 3-2 with just under 2 minutes left in this first 10-minute extra time.
Yeah, I don't think there was any need to have any help on that one. That thing just bent all the way, and there was not much there to finish off as Rockwall takes a 3-2 lead, 1:56 left in overtime number 1. We will play another one, so it's not quite over yet.
Well, before you ask me the question, what am I thinking now if I'm Tony Bowles? I want to get to this next minute 56 without any more blemishes. I want to get my kids to the sideline, and I want to remind them we've got 10 more minutes to play, and we have to be aggressive for those 10 minutes. We can't get back on our heels. We can't set and try to protect a one-goal lead for 10 minutes. We be aggressive. We get the thing down inside 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Then we start looking to clear things out, eat clock, stuff like that. But for the first 6.5, 7 minutes of this next 10 minutes, we're trying to make this thing 4-2 to leave no doubt about what's happening at the end of this match.
Of course, Skyline's going to try to answer back quickly if they can.
And one of the unique things, we talked about how Brandon Alvarado did a great job of curling that ball in, but right before that we were talking about how they were all over Ben Connolly, having to bear hug him and trying to mark him as best as they could, such a big body, tall frame. That may have mattered,
sure.
Because the kid who may normally have been on that back post protecting it is now the kid that's coming up and playing Connolly's backside, because you don't want a kid that's 12 feet tall standing in the middle of the box, So you pull them out of their formation when you put in a different athlete into that position, somebody you've got to pay attention to. So, those are the things coaches think about. And if Tony Bowles is just putting Ben in on corner kicks for the sole purpose of the distraction that he becomes, then that's genius.
Absolutely. Rockwall is going to be content with clearing this one deep into the stands.
And no, for those of you who don't know Ben, he's not 9 feet tall, but
he's 9'9". Let's get it right.
But he is. He's every bit of 6'5", 6'6".
And if he's not getting the ball, he's a distraction regardless, as you saw the big bear hug on him.
There are not many soccer players at any level of soccer that are as tall as Ben Connolly.
And he's probably going to grow a little more.
All right, that's the end of our first 10-minute at a time. So we're going to take about a 4-minute break here or so in play and let them get reset. Hopefully to have Coach Bowles over there telling everybody right now, we're pressing. We are pressing. We're shooting for 4. We're not settling on 3 here. We're going to shoot for 4. And when it gets time to protect the 3, I'll let you know.
Of course, and as we mentioned, I've gone through the record books and I've gone back most of the teens in Rockwall soccer history. I have not found a round 3. Of course, Rockwall with the UIL realigning a year and a half ago. It would be the first time the Rockwall soccer program has advanced to the regional semifinals in their program's history. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, the regional quarterfinals were essentially eliminated once they kind of rebranded this UIL district and broke everything down into 2, Division I and Division II. So they've never made it to the regional semifinal essentially in the last year and a half, as it's brand new. So, Reggie, you got to think that there is 10 minutes to go. Tony Bowles over there talking to his team, not so much about history, but as you mentioned, finishing this game out. Let's get out of here, and let's move on to round 3.
Yeah. That's how he's thinking. These kids are thinking right now, completely in the moment, and what you want to do right now is you want to get their heart rates down a little bit, right? You want to make them understand that you don't look at the scoreboard right now. You've got 10 minutes of soccer to play. And who's going to advance is going to be who the best team is over the next 10 minutes. And it doesn't matter what has happened over the previous 90 minutes. Win the next 10 minutes, and then you're playing on Friday. And if you don't win the next 10 minutes, then all bets are off.
Sure.
So you get their heart rates down, but at the same time, you want them to keep focus on the task at hand. Again, I may not tell them I need 6 or 7 minutes out of you, but in my mind, I'm thinking I've got to get 6 or 7 minutes of high-intensity pressure, just absolute balls to the wall kind of performance from them. And then I'll start coaching them from the sidelines. I'll start making sure that that Connor Shaughnessy and Hudson Morgan know every time they get a ball back in the middle of the back line, kick that ball to Balch Springs.
Yes.
Kick that ball to Fair Park. Whatever you've got to do, let's clear this thing out, and we'll start running clock. But you don't want any of those boys thinking that yet.
Yes. Of course, Skyline looking just as motivated as they were coming into this game. They know they have 10 minutes. They got to get one. And Rockwall knows if they get one more, this one's probably done. But, of course, they're going to try to hold off Skyline. You're going to see probably their best effort of the night here in these final 10 minutes of the area championship. Winner moves on to round 3. Of course, we do not know exactly where that will be, but we have heard rumors that it is at the Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville. Of course, we will attempt to bring you that game as well if Rockwall does move on. And we'll get our first taste of the Tomato Bowl. I don't think I've been there since probably the late 90s. I've never been there with a Rockwall ISD team. So that'll be fun.
Classic stadium. One of the things going to be interesting to look for here in the first few minutes. Skyline's obviously got a bit of desperation to them now. They've got 9.5 minutes to try to get this thing to penalty kicks. Oh, that's what I was going to say. It's going to be interesting to see. So we got a yellow card here for Connor Shaughnessy. Came in with the side tackle, didn't get ball, got all ankles. This is what I was going to say. Skyline is going to have to be more aggressive. They're going to have to challenge more balls. We saw in that first 10-minute overtime, referee kind of swallowed his whistle a little bit. How's he going to call this next 10 minutes? Because if you swallow the whistle for the next 10 minutes and then things get too chippy, then you're taking the quality of the play down a couple of notches.
Sure.
I want to see him call this as tight as possible both ways. And the foul he just called on Connor Shaughnessy, no arguments. I mean, Connor came in, made an attempt, missed the ball, took out ankles. This should be the free kick that it's turned into. But you want to see him call that both ways. Great job
Big
from the
time
wall right there.
That's exactly what you want to do if you're Rockwall. Get that blocked and clear it out. Don't even let it get to your keep.
Great job there. Once again, Joshua Chin, freshman there in the wall, did a great job of clearing that out.
That one goes all the way to the soccer or baseball field behind the complex.
That one's rolling through the parking lot of Mesquite High School right now.
You're going to see a lot of that from Rockwall here. They're going to be booting all these balls out as best they can, especially when it's down in their end.
Well, they just – and that's fine. That just doesn't need to be their first option. I mean, Their first option is let's maintain possession. Let's dispossess them. Let's get the ball up the field. Keep the ball in play as much as possible. Well, I hope somebody brought a big bag of game balls because
so you got the kids rolling out
there. It's
there.
going to take a while. We got balls rolling in from all over the field now. And here's the thing. As much as you think if we clear these things all the way out to downtown Dallas that the referee's just going to let the clock run, eventually, when you keep doing that, the referee's going to start stopping the clock as you replenish balls. So it's not as beneficial this early in the 10 minutes as it will be with, as I said before, 2.5, 3.5 minutes left.
Sure. Of course, Rockwall is 7:45 away from moving on to round 3 for the first time in program history.
Once again, Tony Bell's subbing Connor Shaughnessy back in. In high school soccer UIL rules, if you get a yellow card, you have to go out. You can be substituted for, as opposed to a red card. You can't be substituted for. But the yellow card, you have to go out. There's no specific period of time. Typically, if it's one of your better players, as Connor Shaughnessy certainly is, you're going to bring him out. You're going to sub somebody in for him. And then you're going to have him get a drink of water. And the next dead ball, you're going to get him right back on the pitch, which is exactly what Bowles did here. Opportunity here for Jacob Archer.
They're going to call that off, it looks like.
Yep, he did. Called him offsides about the 15, 18-yard line. So we roll under 7 minutes left here in the second overtime.
course, it's getting to be desperate time for Skyline.
Yep.
They call
Good
that
job there from, not sure, I don't think that was Hudson Morgan, but whoever the right outside back was there. Great job of but he knew the midfielder, the outside mid for Skyline had snuck up. He stepped up, took a step up right before the ball was released to him, trapped that kid offsides, get an offside call, runs off another 30 seconds off the clock. Rockwall's right back in business. Oh, that was Edward Bertrand that had dropped back there. Shaughnessy with a great win.
Good clear.
Great job, Morgan, clearing that ball out. Manny Perez send the ball out wide. Nolan Foster. Send it up for Jacob Archer, just a little bit out of his reach. Setting up Skyline throw in from deep on their end of the field. So we tick down to nearly 5 minutes left, nearly halfway through this second overtime. Finding Rockwall clinging to a 3-2 lead over the Skyline Raiders. So if you're Rockwall, you're 5 minutes away from preparing for your next opponent. If you're Skyline, you're 5 minutes away from either sending this thing to PKs or getting ready to turn uniforms in a couple of days. Great run there. Good job. Holland came out, played that well, didn't panic. A lot of times you'll see keepers come running out late, and momentum carries them too far. He did a great job of putting himself in perfect position before that ball was even sent inside the 18.
There's a kick all the way past midfield, as Rockwall is just trying to get it out. And that's exactly what they're about to do.
Great ball there to Cohen Salazar from Pena. Gets the ball out to Gilliland out wide. Great opportunity here. Oh, could not find the handle on it.
The turf bit him.
Great job getting that ball across from Gilliland. Cohen Salazar was in perfect position. Just put it on his left foot. He had a little bit of difficulty getting his hips around the ball. Couldn't get it finished. Keeper did a great job coming out and getting low. He cut his angles off, but a great scoring opportunity. That's what Rockwall gets one or two more of those. They can put this game away whether they put it in the net or not, because those opportunities eat up a lot of time.
Absolutely. Speaking of time, there's 3:20 remaining from Rockwall and a date with the third round in the Texas 6A playoffs. Of course, as we mentioned, it'd be the first time in program history, as far as we can tell. Definitely the first time since the UIL realignment with the brackets.
Skyline gets the ball in deep. Oh, their attacker falls down just on the edge of the 18.
And turf got him too.
He's still down. He may have turned an ankle on that. So we're going to stop the clock here with 2 minutes and 46 seconds left. So we don't know for certain if it's the first time in program history, but I'm pretty certain that if it's not, it's long enough that nobody's going to hold us accountable for it if we're wrong.
I've been back to at least 2013, and I have not found anything as far as advancing to the third round. So we're going to take it as it is. I know for sure they haven't made it since the UIL realigned, so that'll be a first-time thing. Of course, following the footsteps of the Lady Jackets, who advanced to the regional final for the first time in program history a few years ago, advanced to the state semifinal for the first time, and, of course, advanced to the state final. Falling to South Lake Carroll. Of course, South Lake Carroll is notorious for soccer.
Oh,
and
yes.
They're pretty good. Of course, they laid a licking
boys
on their
and girls.
They laid a licking on their opponent 9-1 in their first round matchup. So
both boys and girls, and the girls are ranked number 1 in the nation right now.
Absolutely. Pretty good at the game of soccer.
All right, 2 minutes and 25 seconds left. Rockwall earned a free kick and I would take as long as I could possibly take here. Even if you have to get a warning and a yellow card from the referee, I would not rush into this if I didn't have to. Brandon Alvarado sending the ball down inside the 18. Skyline keeper comes out. It's off a nice punt, high, but not near the distance that I think he was hoping for. Cameron Tweldy doing a good job holding off the Rockwall. Pretty sure that one got over the top of the bleachers.
They are rushing.
And there are balls flying all over.
Get those balls in.
They were so desperate. They were throwing multiple balls in from the sideline.
1:45 remaining. Skyline has to put one in here or their season will come to an end. And that clock continues to bleed as Skyline just is wasting time here.
They're looking for a long throw. They just need to get the ball back in play. Great job there from Pena.
Skyline's going to set something up here. A great defensive play by Rockwall.
Get it downfield. Keep it in bounds. That's perfectly played from Andres Pena.
You might think this is the final attempt for Skyline.
1 minute left on the clock. All Rockwall has to do is hold this thing out for another 60 seconds.
Oh, no call on that one.
He didn't impede progress.
Skyline is doing everything they can to get some sort of call with 43 seconds left.
And I know that one looked bad, but that was a kid getting up in the air to try to draw a call.
Great play there by the Skyline trying to keep things going.
Great job there from Bertrand.
Rockwall is trying to hold on.
Hudson Morgan sending the ball back out. Skyline quickly gets back in play. 20 seconds left in the second overtime. All right, and the foul gets called there.
But they are wasting time. There's 13 seconds left. They have to go now. Keeper coming up to try to give everything they can for a buzzer beater.
Clock does not stop for these restarts. You've got one opportunity. And that goes across. That's gonna do it. That's gonna end the match. Rockwall holds on 3-2 in 2 added 10-minute periods. For 2 matches in a row, they advance to play another day based on their ability to do what they do in overtime.
Wow, what an exciting match if you're a Rockwall Yellow Jacket fan. Props to Skyline. They gave it all they could, and they really gave Rockwall a run for their money there in those final 10 minutes. Rockwall does what they do best. They lock it down, and they're locking down a trip to round 3, Coach Webb. And what more can you say about this team and what Tony Bowles has accomplished here tonight?
Well, it's amazing, not just in what they accomplished in results. It's amazing of how they've accomplished this for 2 rounds in a row. You know, if in fact this is the furthest any Rockwall team has ever progressed, and you're doing it with a squad that is primarily juniors and sophomores, which, again, a lot of great squads have a bunch of underclassmen that leading the way. But when you have a squad that can consistently come back at the end of their rope and find a way to pull out victory from the jaws of defeat or the jaws of penalty kicks and do that with a bunch of underclassmen, you got something special going.
Coach Garcia sent a message in. He knew she was going to correct us.
Of course she did. Before
Before the internet was invented in 2007, Rockwall did advance to round 3.
Well, we can't all be as old as Melissa Garcia.
So Rockwall has advanced to round 3 before. Of course, it was 2007. So that's at least the latest that we've heard. So it's been a hot minute since the Rockwall Yellow Jackets have been to round 3. But you can say that no more, as the 2026 Rockwall Yellow Jackets are moving on to round 3. They will take on the Woodlands or Cypress Woods. If I were a betting man, I would probably say the Woodlands won tonight.
That would be my guess.
I do not have an update, so we will obviously find out here later tonight to see where Rockwall will go. Of course, we have mentioned it could be in Jacksonville, Texas, the Tomato Bowl on Friday night. I believe that's probably when we will play, is Friday night. Of course, we will find out that information probably later tonight here or first thing in the morning. I will make sure to bug Tony as much as I can probably like midnight tonight, see if I can get him to answer that question for me.
He doesn't respond to us.
He doesn't respond to us at all, but he will answer me tomorrow. We'll make sure we get that information out. And we'll do a little bit of traveling, of course, so we're excited to see this Rockwall Yellow Jacket team advance as far as they can. They are 3 rounds away, my math correct, from advancing to the state championship. One more win, they're halfway home.
Yep.
It's a lot of soccer to play here in the next 2 weeks, but it's exciting soccer.
A lot of soccer to play, and if they're going to keep adding 20 minutes to every match.
The heart rate isn't good for us.
But again, at this point, you've got to think, all right, just get us tied through regulation, and we've got it from there, because there can't be many teams more confident than they are right now that the game's never over.
Of course, Kelsey Bowles bringing out the sign for Rockwall as they are celebrating there on the sideline. Of course, you got Coach Young out there doing his video work. The trophy is there as Coach Priest has given the trophy to Rockwall, and some jumping and hooping and hollering as Rockwall is moving on to round 3 after defeating Skyline 3-2 in the area around the Bowles kids up there jumping up and down. We will have to do Kelsey Bowles on Friday.
Well, yeah, now I'm not the good luck charm. She's the good luck charm.
I told you she's the good luck charm and everything that she did out here. We had a great interview, but the audio went out, so we had a little bit of an issue with that, but we will make sure we get that re-recorded and done the right way for Dr. Bowles, of course. Looks like we have another comment. They made it to the regional semifinal in 2001. So again, before the internet was created. Of course, that was not in the record book that I looked at. So 2007, 2001 seems to be so that 2001 regional semifinal would have been round 4 back in the day, which now it's round 3, so it'd be round 4, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'd be that for the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. So thanks for everybody giving us some history there as we're trying to find things on the internet as we can, but Tony Bowles wasn't even born yet in 2001, so I mean that's way before that, even though he's been the coach for 16 years or so. So, any final thoughts, Coach Webb? Exciting game here, of course, for Rockwall. They're moving on to the regional semis. Last words.
Well, and I'll take it back to something that I said earlier this evening. The great thing about this for Coach Bowles, for this program, for these kids, is they live to fight another day. They don't know who their next opponent is. I guarantee you there's not a single kid over there in the white and the black speckles that cares who their next opponent is or cares where they're playing. They're just excited that they're playing. But it's a team that is heavily populated with underclassmen. And so, you have seniors. All the seniors on this team contribute in a huge way. But you've got a team that is set up for this kind of run and further this year and next year and the year after. And that's great. And I can speak from watching the boys that we have coming through Kane Middle School. I can speak to what Phil Duhon has coming through the program at Heath over the next few years. And, we've got to seriously start talking about we talk about Rockwall ISD as a baseball district. We talk about it as a gymnastics district. We talk about it as a football district. We've kind of started to talk a little bit as a wrestling district. We've got to start to realize that Rockwall ISD is really kind of fell into the mother lode of producing quality soccer programs. We've had great coaches that have moved on, Coach Garcia and so many others, but we got tremendous coaches in this program or in this district right now that are developing hugely successful teams and hugely successful young men and young women.
Couldn't have said it any better myself, and these Rockwall Yellow Jackets are moving on to round 3. We will bring you that date, that time, that place. We can probably guarantee you it's the Woodlands. We can probably guarantee you it's a 7 o'clock kick, and we can probably guarantee you it's the Tomato Bowl out in Jacksonville. But, of course, we will confirm that throughout the evening or in tomorrow, sometime, someplace, somewhere. So thank you for tuning in to the Rockwall ISD Sports Network. For Lisa Trammell shooting the photos on the sideline, we'll get those out here shortly. Trevor Webb working the camera, fantastic work. First time on camera for soccer, right? There you go. He didn't want to talk because it's his first soccer game, so he wanted to make sure he learned the ways.
He made it very clear he didn't want to talk.
Well, now might be set up on Friday to take over, so that'd be great. It's for Coach Webb, who is our soccer genius and the best-looking Webb in Webbland, right?
Eventually, I'm going to agree with you on that. But yeah, eventually I will agree.
The best looking Webb, and of course, Chris Carter's here. Thank you guys for joining us here on the Rockwall ISD Network. Have a great evening. Rockwall wins 3-2. They are moving on to round 3, and we will see you on Friday.